I am really appalled and dismayed to see, on cigarette packets we have put up that skull and the four bones, and we write that it can cause cancer and this and that.
Correct, correct.
I don't see that type of anything happening about alcohol. We should get all these things pictorially also on alcohol. Do you know that, I'm sure you know it, that the incidence of
Hmm.
smoking, especially in young adults, is really coming down now because of all
Hmm.
this, a lot of publicity and a lot of ads coming through the government on TV and other social media. But
Right.
unfortunately, I don't see that happening in alcohol. So I often
See,
tell my alcoholics, when they come with their families to me, that they say, "क्या करें sir, मजबूरी है, ऐसा है." They will have, you know that better. They will have n number of reasons to say why they are
yes,
drinking. Why.
yes.
So there is a very famous couplet from Faraz, which
Hmm.
I tell them that in बारिशों से दोस्ती अच्छी नहीं फराज, इन बारिशों से दोस्ती अच्छी नहीं फराज, कच्चा तेरा मकान है कुछ तो ख्याल कर. You
Very
can still save your home,
correct,
because
very true.
the sickness of one alcoholic not only destroys him, it destroys the whole family. It
Yes,
destroys the entire family. The entire two generations get affected. His elderly parents and
right.
his children, his wife, obviously,
Yes,
everybody is in disaster. And apart from the social consequences, you know,
you're
accidents
abs. Yes.
and getting into legal problems and all that, it's so, it is so devastating to see that. So I think what you said is very true. The need of the hour is good rehabilitation.
Yes,
But most
absolutely, doctor.
alcoholics tend to take it very lightly. Sometimes I've seen families also saying that, oh बेचारा क्या करे, वो तो पीता है थोड़ा सा, अभी आदत लग गई थी, क्या करें डॉक्टर साहब. I'm reminded of Mark Twain's famous words on smoking, which he
Hmm.
said, "It's so easy to give up smoking. I've given it up dozens of times." So it's
Right.
like that. They give up alcohol, and then there is a very high incidence of recidivism, that they keep coming back to it. They will give it up for some
Exactly.
time, and they will keep coming. That's our biggest, fear when we recommend patients with bad alcoholic livers for transplant. The family goes through a transplant. It is a very, very major drain on the family, economically, financially,
Yes.
emotionally, everything.
Yes.
And then the worst thing which can happen is that few months after that, the guy goes back to alcohol. It's all
So,
over.
but doctor, that is exactly why a person who requires a liver transplant first needs to be treated for the alcoholism. As you rightly
Very
said, the incidences of what we call relapses are very high in someone who drinks because that is the nature of the disease of addiction. It is a relapse prone disease. However, someone who drinks and he's able to stop for a certain period of time because somewhere unconsciously that belief is there or that understanding is there. I can always start it whenever I want, so that starting and stopping reaches such a point where the duration of period between the periods of when he has stopped starts reducing over a period of time till there is no gap and the person starts drinking every day, and that results in a stage wherein it is the alcohol that finally controls the person. It is not the person's ability to control the consumption of drink is over and is done with. It is no longer in his hands. And the unfortunate part, doctor, of what you just shared, where the family also starts giving in to that person's excuses, is because the family is not aware of the nature of the disease of addiction, unfortunately. So even our effort from Anatta is to, through these sessions and through these webinars, to increase awareness even amongst the family, because they need help first, because they are the ones who pick up the phone and call a rehab or call a counselor or call a psychiatrist or take their loved one to a psychiatrist or to a doctor or to a physician for help. And they need to understand that they require as much help as that person because their lives are revolving around that person, trying to control that person's drinking. And in a sense, they lose their sense of identity, whether it is a spouse, as you rightly said, doctor, 3 generations or 2 generations. The I would say three, doctor, wherein it is the elderly parents, it is the spouse of the person who's consuming the alcohol, and the next generation of children who are equally affected. All 3 generations need help. So for us at Anatta, family therapy is equally important. And many times the family comes to us for treatment, even though the person who is drinking might not come or might come after a long time. But when the family changes their ways of enabling, like making excuses for their drinking, justifying their drinking, giving into that excuse of the person or that manipulation of the person who is drinking, because he does not know any better. But if they are empowered with knowledge and if they are empowered with a system wherein they can take care of their own emotional states, that creates an unmanageability for the person who is drinking and motivates him or her to come into treatment.